What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tee Becoate. Today I'm behind the camera. I know normally I used to see me in frame, but today I'm gonna shoot behind the camera. We have two amazing guests with us. First, we're gonna start with Jonny Parks, representing Westchester, New York, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then we also got Steve here as well. Steve, are you also representing Westchester?
Yep.
Okay, shout out to Westchester. Westchester in the building. How you guys doing today?
We chilling. We good. You know, we here.
Right, we supposed to. Sorry to cut you off. We supposed to do the interview like last week, Jonny, but you know we made it happen this week. You feel me?
That's a fact. That's a fact. You know, we just this stuff got in the way. But life got in the way. But we here today. You know,
life be lifing, but we here.
Life be lifing.
Shout out to y'all. So, all right, Jonny, let's get straight into it, man. Tell the people a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
So, I'm an artist. I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a guitarist. I'm a producer. One half of a DJ duo, you know what I'm saying? Fashion entrepreneur, whatever. But I'm an artist at heart. Come from Westchester, New York. And, you know, I just make music, and I like just doing dope shit. And shit that I feel and I put my heart into. And, you know, that whatever craft it is, writing, singing, guitar playing, producing, whatever, I'm in it.
Okay, dope. And I want to ask you, because I watched your previous interview, you said you were shy as a kid. How did you manage?
Still is.
I'm not
as much
shy.
as you used to.
Yeah, but like, you know, like I'm more like an introvert.
Introverted.
Yeah,
extrovert.
introverted. Like, you know, like I'll speak. If I'm spoken to, I'm gonna talk to you. Like, you know, like if you just approach me, I'll approach you. You know, we'll have a conversation. But and if it's shit that I gotta do, like, you know, just being in a music video, being on camera, talking to people, I know how to, like, it's almost like a switch with me, kind of, like, you know. So I know, like, you know, when to just naturally be social. I'm not like you know, just in my own type shit.
Right. I was gonna ask, how do you, you know, balance that being an artist and being a shy person?
Just putting myself in situations where I wouldn't really be comfortable in. So, like, performing in front of people, that was like the main thing that kind of helped me just break out of like my own, like my reserved character. It was just performing in front of people. Performing at the Apollo was like a staple in like my life period. And yeah, and just, you know, going on to like American Idol and rolling on from there.
Right, you just tried to slide that in there. Slide those two achievements in there casually. You said
Yeah.
Apollo, that's historic. You know, I'm
Yeah.
from Harlem myself, so, you know, once you hear Apollo, you just, like, you gotta pay homage to that. And then you said American Idol.
Yeah.
You were on American Idol.
So
I did not know that. Let us
Yeah,
tell
so this
me and the
was-
people the story.
that was a crazy ass day. So this was 2017. First off, I had somehow got in contact with like the American Idol producers through, like, you know, somebody that was doing PR for me. They hooked me up with one of the producers. I did like they do like mini small auditions before they do the big audition. So I made it past that first audition. That was at somewhere like maybe MSG, maybe like Hulu Theater or something like that. I went on, and then the actual audition where, you know, it gets televised and shit. So that day itself started at like maybe like 5 a.m.
Oh my god, like 5, 6, maybe 7.
Yeah.
6 in the morning we got there. Remember we walked to the wrong building?
Yeah.
We walked to the wrong building, and the guy was like, "No, you got to go over this." So it was at the Penn Hotel. It got knocked down. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, we put it like this. We got there like maybe 5:45, maybe 7. We didn't get home till almost midnight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the judges didn't show up until the afternoon because
The judges, right?
you know, that's what Katy Perry does when she's not in space.
That's a fact. Yeah, but you know.
So you got the singer from the Katy Perry.
Yeah. Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, who's the other? Luke Bryan. Yeah. So that whole, I could tell you like the whole day, a series of events, but just to shorten it up, first off, American Idol is a show. Like, first and foremost, it's not a singing competition. It's a show. It's scripted as hell. I've seen a really nice young chick. She was really cool, and then I saw the producers approach her and be like, "You need to act this way for the scenes, for the television." she did that, and then she didn't get put through, and she was actually pretty talented. So it's all scripted. It's all a show.
Lionel Richie said, yeah.
Lionel Richie. So I did a couple songs with them for them. Lionel Richie was like, "Yo, you're really." I could barely hear him because he speaks really softly.
He's whispering and shit, right?
Yeah, he's like whispering and shit.
Hello.
Yeah, singing. Yeah. But he was like, you really got it in you. He was like, I'm gonna say yeah and just take you under my wing and coach you. I was like, oh shit. So he said that first, and then Katy Perry's like, yeah, I don't, it could be better. I can't remember what she said, but the funny thing is, I did a song by John Mayer. I did a song by John Mayer.
They dated.
Yeah, and I think they like just had broken up at that time, And I did a song. I did like my own version of it. So I'm like, all right. So you probably feel a little ways. Like, all right, whatever. And then Luke Bryan, like I never heard of him myself. So and I think he's more country. So
his opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, man. Like, all right, bro. Like Lionel Richie said he would coach me personally, to me, like to my face and looking in my eyes. I'm like, yo, bro, that's all the validation I need to keep going on.
Nah, that's a fact. You get Lionel Richie's approval, you pretty much good. So did you follow up with that? Like, were you able to stay in contact with Lionel Richie, or was that all for the show?
Nah, I was like really, all for the show. I couldn't, there's no way the producers would let me like try to contact.
Even the distance, I remember like I was standing outside the room with Ryan Seacrest, and I like looked in the room a little bit. The distance from the judge's table to like where you're standing is a good like had to be like 10 feet.
I'll say more than that.
Yeah, it looked.
It was more than
way
that.
too far away. I was like, so having it cut it, edited on camera is some Houdini shit.
Yeah,
So
like it'd be like a little walk to get to the table from where I was singing to them. But another like funny part about that is after they have you do like talking head interviews type shit. So the lady that was like interviewing me like behind the camera, she's like, just trying to get like an emotion out of me and like say like, aren't you sad that you aren't gonna make it to California? You don't get to go to California with like, and I'm like, nah, I'm cool, I'm chilling, I'm just make my music and go back home and just, get better or whatever.
And then you went to California and performed anyway.
Exactly.
That's how I like it.
like 2 years later. Yep.
Word, that's how real it is.
Yeah.
I went to California.
Yeah, that's a fact.
All right, Johnny. So you are an R&B artist. Like, you stand on that, right? Like, that's what you would consider yourself as an R&B artist?
I would consider myself that, yes. I do draw other influences just because I like other music.
Right. What was some of the music that you would listen to growing up?
A mix between, 90s, 2000s R&B, Usher, Jagged Edge, anyone else.
Usher.
I said Usher. Jagged Edge, 112, that type shit. And then just what my dad liked, he liked, more like jazz music. Like jazz, like maybe like contemporary jazz, like CD 101.9, if you remember that station. That was his station. And then my mom was more like, like the soul, 60s, 70s soul, like Marvin Gaye, Temptations. So just all of that blended together is how I like, got my ear for music. And then going off into other genres like that, just because I wanted to. Right.
Is that what drew you into like playing instruments, like the jazz influence from your pops?
Not too much really. The first instrument I wanted to play was the keys, was the piano. I didn't get a chance to. So I picked up the guitar just from a guitar class that I took with one of my homies in high school, and I just kept with it.
Okay, fire. So while we're on the topic, who is your top 5 R&B artists all time?
Damn.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. So I'm gonna say Jodeci. I'm gonna throw in Stevie Wonder. I'm gonna say Usher. I want to say a name, but
We know who you.
Yeah,
we know.
okay.
We know. He's not gonna say it, but
Yeah,
I'll say it if he wants to say it. Kels.
Yeah, artistically.
Yeah, separate the art from the artist type.
Right.
Say Frank Ocean. Like,
No.
He's a taboo name too.
Yeah, right. And then fifth one, damn, I can't even. Let me add a chick actually. Either Mary or Faith Evans.
Mm-hmm. So everyone you name pretty much is like a real deal like vocalist. So like, is that's what stands out to you most? Like with R&B, like the vocals, the emotion.
Vocals are important. I just like just the music, the production. That's definitely important. All those artists have pretty solid production. They, of course, all of them are amazing vocalists as well. But yeah, the whole sound of the song, the whole sound of the production.
Okay, fire. I want to get away from the music a little bit and talk about growing up in Westchester.
Yeah.
It's not New York City, but it's literally right there technically.
Yeah.
So how was growing up in Westchester, and how did that influence you?
That's a good question.
Yeah. So Westchester is there's like really, I want to say maybe wealthier parts, and then there's parts where it's not, it's the hood.
It's fucking rough. Like Yonkers is Westchester,
right?
Mount Vernon is Westchester.
Right.
They get busy, so every spot got its own pockets. Like I'm from White Plains, but I grew up in the hood, so it's like the White Plains, like but it's like that corner pocket where the projects is not really connected. Even growing up, I always felt like it was like a different part of the city. Like we had everything there. We had a Kennedy's, we had a Chinese store, we had a little dollar store, we had stuff where you didn't need to venture out to go further down and get shit. So it's just interesting like that. But our school was like a melting pot. So
so just like being in all of that, and then just being able to talk with people that live right down the street from the school, and they was like living in like houses and shit. And so just all of that combined just definitely gave, I would say for me at least, just like an early outlook on like the duality of like there's poverty, and then there's people that got it, that have the means. So that's why for me, being in that melting pot, it's beneficial. Just have a clear outlook on life.
And then also too, just being so close to the city, having access to just coming to the city. Like as we got older, we're just like, fuck this shit. I'm not staying in White Plains. There's nothing here for us. We're not growing. We're not like, we just felt like just like different, like out of the people that we went to school with. And like a lot of the times, it's funny because like I remember being in 12th grade being like, watch, when we get older, a lot of people are gonna like see what we're doing now and want to try to do that. Fast forward, a lot of people I see on Facebook now are trying to do like photography, or like they're trying to get into podcasting and doing arts, and I know for a fact they were not doing that in high school. So I'm like, it's interesting. Like, and we just stayed in our lane like the whole time. So
Or so y'all were on this early. Y'all were doing pretty much what y'all doing now in high school.
Yeah, I've been painting since 2009. So about, goddamn, I don't even know, what is that, like 16 years?
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, so
yeah. That's a minute. And me, for just music overall, I mean, I had the ear for music. I've been playing. I started harmonica when I was like 8 years old, and then I just kind of found my way into music, like keyboards along the way. And then I started with guitar again, like in high school, 11th grade, and then later on I started singing. College, SUNY Fredonia. I went upstate. Yeah, that was like maybe 2014, 2012 to 2014. Yeah.
Okay, so before you were actually making music, you were playing the guitar. When did you decide to put the vocals to the guitar?
When I went to college, I'm like, yo, I got all this freedom, I got all this free time. I could sound bad first, and then spend 8 hours a day in a practice room and just keep getting better.
I had no idea at the time, because it's like Instagram wasn't really like a thing. It did not exist, put it like that. And then me and him would just text, but it was like not really, just like a whisper. We just wouldn't talk about certain things. So like he sent me a shitty ass like audio note, and it was like him. And I was like, bro, you're singing too?
Yeah,
like what I knew he was playing guitar, so I was like, I knew you're doing your thing up there. And I was like, oh shit. And then like 2015, he called me. He was like, yo, bro, I'm going to Purchase for the next semester. I was like, what? So I hadn't seen him like in like months because he was upstate. So like when he came down, we finally started going to school together. I was like, oh, this is gonna be lit. And ever since then, kind of working off shit. So yeah.
Okay, word. You two pretty much known each other like your whole life, right?
Yeah. So he lives like right down the block.
Yeah.
We for, since we actually, before we knew each other, it was like right down the block. So yeah, we connected like for real in like ninth grade math class type shit. Yeah. Like, yo, bro, you live like right down. I'm like, yeah, I live in the Grant House. And you live in 11? I'm like, oh shit. So, we was just like, just chilling from there, and then we found common interests like art, music, fashion.
Yeah, and even then, like, I just started drawing. Like painting. I didn't even know I could paint. I was just still figuring out how to draw, and music wasn't even a thing for him. So we always like had a friendship just based off like that, you know, like nothing else was like interfering. I feel like that a lot of times that happens with people where like they build off of like their skills, and that's the only thing they have as like a common thing. Yeah. And then like when that falls apart, it's like they don't have that true friendship where it's like if I stopped painting and he stopped doing music, we would still be able to be cool with each other. And that's what is the most important part. So
that's a fact.
Because this shit can't last forever.
That's a fact.
Word, that's what's up, man. Shout out to y'all, known each other since high school. And then going back to college, your first tape or one of your tapes was called Room 327, right?
Yeah.
Inspired by your college dorm.
Yeah.
So like college, just describe your college experience, because to name your college one of your first tapes after your dorm room. I went away to school. I know what it's like having that dorm. Like you said, it's like your first crib. Like
right.
So like just describe what inspired you to name the tape after your dorm room.
That for me, it was just like I lived dolo, so like I didn't have a roommate, so it's just the time that I took to just like really just kind of just introspectively think, and just like creatively think as well. And that's like when I was a writer before I started doing music, but that's when I started shifting it obviously towards more songwriting, poetry type shit. And just really the space where I just was just creative. I didn't really party much like that. I just spent a lot of my time just building my craft, getting better, and that was in Room 327.
Fire. And I know you said you had to you let your parents hear your music for the first time.
Yeah, bro.
What was that pressure like?
So that, I think I sent it to you before I even sent it to my parents.
That I didn't know till just now.
Yeah. Oh, what? Damn, that's crazy. So I sang a song for them, and I sent it to my mom, and then she listened to it one time, and then she was like, so this is what she told me. So like my mom makes like she has crazy reactions, bro. Like, so my mom called my dad. My dad was like a more reserved person, way more reserved. So allegedly, my mom saw my dad actually be like, oh, like kind of like shocked, like what? Like my dad he's really reserved, but he gets like really animated, like like he gets really animated, and it could just be like that. So they were both. This is what she told me. They're both like dancing in the living room, and they like yo, like this is our son. Like what? Like he speaks when he's spoken to. That's it.
Exactly.
Right? Like, he speaks when he's spoken to. That's it. So they called me like immediately. And then I was like, yeah, that's me. I'm singing. It's just me and my guitar. I'm like, I posted up in the practice room. And, I've been doing this for like, I don't know, like 3-4 months. I'm like, that's one. I got like, like 20 other recordings that you haven't heard. Like, send them to me right now. So I sent her like a double album worth of just me just in the practice room. So it was crazy shot.
I only got like 4 songs.
Yeah.
So.
Nah, that's what's up, man. It's a dope story. So, like we were talking about when we were heading up here, you're my second R&B artist that I sat down with this year. I want to ask you, do you think there's a resurgence in R&B right now?
I think, this is my honest opinion, I think there's too much pressure on R&B itself. Like there's too much of like people want like the original old sound of R&B, which I get. You know, we want the essence of R&B, but there's for example, like you do have like a Frank Ocean, or you do have like The Weeknd. Well, I'm gonna exclude The Weeknd because he's more pop anyway. But
that's not to cut you off, but that's the point too.
That's the point.
We did a vlog. I'm not to cut you. We did a vlog series about like R&B, and we asked people over the summer like, what's the state of R&B? What do you guys think of that? And they didn't. A lot of the times,
so many blurred
people
lines.
were just like, what like they didn't know what R&B was.
Right.
Now, we were asking people that looked like us, people that didn't look like us.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. It's just a lot of blurred lines.
And I think R&B is getting blurred.
R&B is blurred, but that's it, to me. It's not a bad thing. There could be different pockets, just like there's different pockets of rock and roll. I just think people put too much pressure on what it should sound like, rather just being artistic. And if your shit happens to sound like R&B, and you sound like R&B, you sing like R&B, you do your production like R&B, then that's what it is.
That's true. Like you said, it's definitely blurred line. I think it's blurred lines in hip hop and R&B too. Like it's just getting blurred. So that I want to ask you this question too. We also had NLE Chopper in the same studio that you're sitting in right now. We asked him, is rap like, do they box rappers in like because of look and style? And like you kind of just alluded to it. You ask people that look like you, don't look like you. Do you feel like R&B artists face that same, like if you have a certain look, you have to make songs a certain way, like?
That's a I'm gonna say, well, artists do get boxed. Obviously, yeah, artists do get boxed in. For R&B specifically, I would say probably. What you think? Yeah,
not looks wise, because if you look at like Party Next Door, then you look at like Bryson Tiller,
they all
look at The
different.
Weeknd.
Right.
Then if you look at like Frank Ocean, they all make pretty much similar music, but their like aesthetics, who they are, is like totally different. They're like so spread out. So
yeah,
I just think for me, like, yeah, being as a fan and watching him, I feel like, you know, it should just come down to like the music itself, and not really saying like I'm an R&B artist or I'm this, I'm that. I think it's just because at the end of the day, people just want to hear the good music, and they're not so like back then. It used to be like, I'm an R&B artist, you know what I mean? It was more of a title that people carried with weight because it went further, where it's like now it's like so. And there also really hasn't been any like R&B, like
exactly. That's what I was.
Because nobody's dancing in the rain anymore. Ain't nobody taking off their shirts. Ain't nobody chasing a girl through the mall. That's kind of the elements of what I think I want to know your name.
Yeah.
No, Mario was like,
yeah. That was like.
Now it's a very
time.
And I think that's because a lot of the energy is depleted. If you look at like R&B now, it's very sad, kind of in my feelings. Where it's like you can be like that. Like Usher made Confessions, like, you know.
But even Confessions was like it was a bopping.
But it had a bop to it. He was like, yeah, I messed up, but you know what? I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I mean? Like now it's kind of like, yeah, I'm sad, girl.
Feel sad for me.
Down in my feelings. It's very like depleting
low
of energy, and it's
low
like
energy.
Not what R&B is at its core.
Right.
And I think that's the younger generation kind of like taking that low energy and like getting it from social media and kind of like, you know, thinking that it's cool to be depressed when it's not.
Right.
That's an interesting answer, for sure. All right, so I want to talk about your latest EP, And Then There Were Diamonds.
Yeah.
Why'd you name it And Then There Were Diamonds? Shout out to, you know, just putting the name Diamond in there, you know, with Diamond Cut Media, so.
Facts. Shout out y'all. Shout out Diamond Jesus. Yeah, but And Then There Were Diamonds. I think the first song, well, no. There's a song called Diamond in the Dark on there, so the influence was from really that song. But it, you know, I decided it just because I'm like, you know, shit, here I am. Like, this is me. And like, you know, the full title is like is supposed to be Pressure Applied and Then There Were Diamonds. So you apply pressure and then you get diamonds. That's why it starts with the ... before it. But yeah, it's just like, you know, this is my art, this is my music. this is what I do. It's on a EP, and I put projects out before, obviously, but this is it. This is it for right now. This is what I'm feeling for right now, and this is what you're getting.
All right. What was the creative process with that tape?
I want to say it was kind of, not all over the place, but some of the production I handled myself, some of the production I handled with my engineer, and then with a couple other musicians. But it was just trying to just think creatively, and then trying to pick up from the project before that called Waves that I dropped in 2021, I think. And then in between I was dropping songs. But just picking up and progressing with the sound, and just, wherever my ear takes me is where I'm at.
Okay, fire. I was gonna ask, where do you rank this EP among like all your releases?
Good question. That's a good question. All right. I'm gonna say it's in the top 3 of projects. Sonically, I think maybe it's tied with Waves, in my personal opinion. The project before, it's in the top 3. I would say it's probably 3 for me.
And what's one, maybe song or one memory that makes it, that top 3 for you?
My favorite song on the album is, on the EP, is "The World Only Knows." I think it's one of my best songs that I've done. So that kind of puts it above, like, for me, other projects. Just like having that one song, and then "Diamond in the Dark" is another like really good song. "Me, My Bitch," "In My Eyes" is like a song, like I'm just going off here, but "In My Eyes" is another really good song of mine. One of my favorites. It's a personal song, and it's more of like if like Griselda made like an R&B record. It's just like a drum loop with like just some synths and some keys.
Fire. And I know I heard some guitar in there. Was that you playing the guitar?
Yeah.
Okay, fire. Did you have any other live instruments?
Definitely. I had other musicians play like the keyboard, like parts that I can't do myself. I'll have my keyboards come in. This one I didn't have like any live drums on. No, this one I didn't have any live drums. Other instruments, I had a saxophone on there on "Diamond in the Dark." I had shaker. I had my bro on the shaker on that song. So yeah, we had some live instruments.
Yeah, I was listening to the tape. I was like, I could hear like some of the live instruments. Is that like something that's important to you? Do you want live instruments in your music?
Yeah, it's not the end all be all, but I like it just because I like the natural organic sound. That's just me. That's just what I hear, what I feel. But it's not the end all be all. I've done songs that don't have live instrumentation.
Okay. And I want to ask, going a little bit back, because we spoke on this like just a few minutes ago with R&B, some of the trends, like you were saying the trend, Steve was saying the trend of being depressed in music right now. Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you feel about these trends? Because there's different trends too. Like sad boy music is one. Yeah. You got like, I would say maybe like super, I guess you can describe it as like fuckboy, hypersexual R&B. You got sad boy shit. Like, what trends do you fuck with and you don't fuck with in R&B right now?
Definitely the low chakra shit that you just mentioned.
Yeah, like low energy, low chakra.
That's this chakra, right? It's not up here. Where your crown is, where your mind should be.
Right. It's okay to like, if you have songs here and there, like, it's like, it's, man. Yeah, right. But as far as like, different pocket, like, different styles or whatever, it's cool. I think R&B today, it just goes so many different ways. I think a popular sound in R&B today is like maybe R&B singers kind of going at their lines or approach like rappers. So they'll do like a quick, like Chris Brown does it a lot. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's really dope. But I would want to hear other artists like do just different pockets, different flows, sing a song like how I don't know, Boyz II Men would sing it, and then sing a song like how Chris Brown would sing it. Try it out, try different
variety.
Right, more variety. There should be.
Okay, dope. And to wrap up the interview, I've seen you've done a few live shows.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite place you performed so far?
Favorite place?
Favorite venue or, club, show?
One place that I like a lot, that I really fuck with is, I would say probably Shrine in Harlem.
Shout out to Shrine.
Shout out to Shrine. My favorite of all time, I'm gonna just have to go with the Apollo just because that kind of shaped who I am as a person today. It was the Apollo.
Not everybody goes on that stage.
Right.
That's a fact.
And nobody, not everybody walks off that stage not getting booed. Because they straight up boo you at the Apollo. Like they don't fuck with you.
You had it.
So I made it. I made it through that competition. People were fucking with me. So that was that. But yeah, definitely the stable was the Apollo for me.
Okay, bet. And my last question, we got the summer coming up. What's next for Jonny Parks? Do you have new music, maybe shows, videos? What's next?
Definitely music, summertime. Producing for other artists. Shows, 100%.
We're gonna get shows lined up. Don't worry about that. And DJ and shit.
And DJ and shit. We got the DJ duo, Dill Sparks.
Yep.
We're gonna get that lined up. This summer is just, taking the time out. All the stuff that, we're working on now coming into fruition for summer. And then still, planning out in the summer for the winter and then, so on and so forth.
Okay, fine. And then I gotta, I have both of you here just fit this question in. Talk about your DJ duo.
Yeah.
So we started DJing back in 2023. I would say. Yeah.
2023.
It's crazy. So we were at an art show that I was checking out, and we met this woman, and she asked us, well, first we just connected with her, and then, I told her what I did, and he said what he did, and she was like, okay, cool. So she's going through, his Instagram, and she sees more of his music, and so she asked us straight up, she's like, would you guys be interested in like DJing, like one of my events? And she didn't ask us if we DJ'd, if we know how to or anything like that. And we didn't say no. We were like, fuck it, like we're gonna do it, And so we didn't know how to DJ at all. I've done it a little bit, like on the virtual DJ, but like just playing around, but like not in front of people,
right,
in a public space. So
yeah, like my experience, which was probably what drawn her to even ask this question, was just me using the drum machine, like my MPC.
Yeah.
So she must have thought that was and she's really dope, by the way, if she sees this. But she most likely thought that I was like a mixing board for like DJing. But she asked me, and I ran it back with her. I'm like, yo, what you think? Should we do this shit?
Hell yeah.
He was like, yeah, and I told him like, yeah, let's do it.
This is a blessing in our lap. So
that's a fact.
We went to Sam Ash, bought the cheapest like mixer we could find, and we had, this was crazy too. This was like maybe like around my birthday in October. I think her event was like a month later. So we only had like 2 weeks to like learn how to DJ, come up with playlists, make it sound good.
And Italian house music at that.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even rap music.
We didn't even know the music.
It was like house, Italian, Euro, stuff like that. So we we did our thing. We showed up, we had our practice going, and people fucked with it. They were dancing and everything, and yeah, so ever since then we kind of, been doing little gigs and spots here and there where we can. We mostly spin in Harlem, so we try to go to like Corner Social as much as we can. Spin there like on Saturday. Shout out Big Ray, he holding it down for us. So
shout out Big Ray.
Yeah, DJ Big Ray. So
yeah. So we just keep it on going from there.
If you need us for your birthday parties or your reunions,
anniversary,
or your baby moms want to have something you're going to spin at, holla at your boys.
There's a lot of baby showers, going on this summer,
And some of y'all dudes, if y'all got more than one, holla.
That's a fact.
We'll give you a discount.
You
got 3 or more baby showers going on.
We ain't gonna say shit too.
We'll give you 25% off one of them.
Yeah, holla at us.
Word, man. Free plug. But yo, fellas, it was a great conversation. Please let the people know where they can find y'all on social media, stream your music, check out some of your work, everything.
Yes, so Jonny Parks, you can find me on IG, JONNY_PARKS, Jonny_Parks. You could find us on IG as well.
DJ Dose Sparks.
DJ Dose Sparks.
And for me, I'm on Instagram, Dose Stackos. You know, check it out, DOSSTACKOS.
Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. We got another Diamond Cut Media interview in the books.
Bless,
Shout out to y'all fellas. Appreciate y'all for kicking it with us today.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
We out of here.
Yes, sir.